Does the rear end of your Honda Pilot look like this, or more like that? This is our 2007 Honda Pilot, and we're going to be replacing the rear coil springs and sway bar end links, which should hopefully help us get rid of that infamous rear end sag on these models. If you're planning to tackle this and you've never done work like this before, I'd probably recommend budgeting a full Saturday. And stick around to the end where I'll show you the measurements of the ride height difference that this made. We'll start by raising up the vehicle, safely placing it on jack stands, and removing the wheels. Removing anti-sway bar end links has always been a bit of a chore because of the rust and corrosion that we get up here. I usually place locking pliers on the back, and then on the front, you can use a 14mm wrench with a wrench extender, then just give it some love pushes and it might break free. You can also use a long handle ratchet with a 14mm socket. Again, some elbow grease. My tool of choice is, of course, the impact wrench. Let's bust off the other end of that sway bar end link, and then hit that 14mm nut with our impact again. Here's the lower control arm bolt that you'll need to remove. Here's where the end of that lower control arm bolt comes out. Let's set our floor jack to take the pressure off of that lower control arm bolt. And now we'll remove that 17mm bolt with our impact, or you can use a wrench. Here we're going to remove the two 10mm bolts that are holding on the parking line. Now we can lower the floor jack and work on getting that coil spring out. What am I calling? Nothing. Alright, there we go. Here's the top plastic piece. Nice. There's the bottom plastic piece. Okay, comparing the sway bar rear end links, there's a left and a right side. So like if you were to line it up this way, you'll see it works. Here's the opposite side. Now no matter which way you line it up, it's not going to line up. Versus if you have the correct side, no matter which way you turn it, it's going to line up properly. Comparing the old and new coil spring components. So obviously there's the old one, there's the new one. One thing you'll notice different is there's more coils. If you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. On the old one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. On the new one, so expect it to be a bit stiffer. Now this end, this cap is the part that goes up top. There's a little notch in here. Where this top piece ends is where that notch kind of seats in. Okay, I've cleaned out the seat of the lower control arm. Here's the plastic. I got it from Honda. This is about 10 bucks Canadian. You'll notice there's a notch here where it slants downwards. Not sure if you can tell, but in the seat there, it's basically angled down right there. So that's how you get that installed. Drain holes line up for the most part. Now this rubber is really grippy, so it's best to get this up in there, get it seated properly. Try not to adjust it too much. If you need to turn it and twist, that'll be a bit of a problem because this rubber is too grippy. You'll notice in the back that I used a ratcheting strap. Over there, it's hooked up to the lower control arm, just pulling it downwards a little bit because I need to push this down with my feet while I shove this in there, but that's just a little bit of help if you're doing this by yourself. So now, trying to just get this pushed up in there. Lift it up, turn it a bit. Lift it up, turn it a bit. Just to get the floor jack seated underneath. Stop. As nicely as the other side. Okay, crank it up. One more. Alright, I'll take the jack out in a sec. Alright, torque spec for this bolt should be 54 foot-pounds. 54.7, close enough. Coil spring is now installed. Looks like the rubber is seated nicely at the top. Lower bolt is tightened down. Let's get that parking line reattached and install that new sway bar end link. The nuts on this new sway bar end link is 15 millimeter. The original is 14 millimeter. So just so you're aware, it's different. And usually the torque spec is somewhere around 30, 40-ish. Don't have to go crazy with it, but you know, tight. Here's the first before photo, and you'll notice that there's a bit of negative camber, so that means the lower part of the tire is sticking out at an angle. You'll notice in the after photo that we did get some snow, but aside from that, the wheel actually looks like it's at a bit of a positive camber, but after it settled for a week or two, it was almost perfectly straight. Using the original coil springs, the ride height measured in at 30 7/8 of an inch, with the fender sitting above the tire at 3 1/4 inches. With the new coil springs, the overall height measures in at 32 3/4 of an inch, and the fender sits 5 inches above the tire. Hope you found this video helpful. Like, comment, subscribe, and happy DIYing!